Welcome into the Thunder Basketball Universe presented by COOP Ale Works. We are kicking off Season 5 the only way we know how, big time, with Media Day, coming to you live from the Oklahoma City Convention Center where the Thunder just held Media Day to kick off training camp. And boy, these days are always so much fun.
It's the first day of school,
Yeah.
and I feel like we say that every year, but it's the same level of juice that the guys bring every year when they come in to Media Day. And you mentioned that we're here at the Convention Center, and just so cool that, like, when I first started doing Media Days here, this wasn't even anywhere close to being built or started. It was just sort of this idea. And so this part of town has had such a huge transformation, and so it's really cool to be doing this event here, and I know the guys really appreciate it because this building is really awesome.
This building is so cool, so spread out, so big. There was a lot happening. We really filled up a lot of rooms here at the Convention Center, as we normally do during Media Day. I mean, we had the live stream going with our incredible broadcast team, our partners in crime, Mr. Chris Fisher, Michael Cage, Royce Young, Matt Pinto were also on that live stream as well. Photo station with our awesome photographer, Zach Beaker.
Social media station.
Yeah.
We've got all sorts of spots also for the in-arena entertainment. So all those great shots that you see of the guys, we call them gladiator shots, where, you know, the camera's coming in and they're swooping in and they're looking really intense. All that stuff for the in-arena entertainment, that kind of gets knocked out here. And then Paris, you and I had an opportunity that was separate from the rest of the media to get some really cool sit-down one-on-one interviews.
This was a really good opportunity for us to be able to sit down with these guys and have real in-depth conversations that we, during the season, really don't get a chance to do at this level. And so we were able to sit down with every single guy and just talk about their journeys, their paths, and just where they see their games going in this upcoming season as well.
Yeah, a wonderful opportunity to really tap into them, to help you all as fans get to know these guys that you're cheering on every single night. That is really our job. We are the conduit between these players and you all. We try to get you as close to them as we possibly can.
Yeah, the press conference room was also happening. And Nick, during my interviews, in between players, I had to check social media to see like what was happening in the press conference room, just trying to still be a reporter, right? Like still trying to make sure I'm up to date on everything. But then I also was able to catch a glimpse of some of the content that's coming out of Media Day. Incredible. There was this big robo camera that we have this year that is like doing high res, like slow motion footage of these guys. And I was able to catch a little glimpse of that. You guys are in for a treat on these social media channels to see some of the stuff coming out of Media Day.
See, I thought you were going to just talk about all the selfie videos that our social media team got. Shay did it. They had the two Aussies together with Josh and Jack White, who you got to talk to both those guys.
Did.
We're just continuing this theme of the summer of Australia and Paris.
So here's the crazy thing. So I was able to talk to Jack White, and we talked to him back to back. So I talked to Jack, and then I talked to Josh. And Jack pointed out that within the Thunder locker room, there's like 7 different countries represented. I mean, Serbia, Latvia, Australia, Canada, United States. I'm missing another one.
Serbia? Did you say it?
I did say Serbia.
Okay.
So maybe it was just 5.
France?
France, didn't say France.
There
so
you go.
6, yes.
Okay. Yep.
And he was just marveling at the fact that this is such a diverse roster in terms of nationalities and flags represented, that it was really cool for him to be a part of that.
Yeah, and all these guys speak the same basketball language, that sort of spontaneous, free-flowing ability to play off the catch, make pass, shoot, drive decisions. The other cool thing that we really got to experience in our rooms is these guys really speak the same language off the court as well, regardless of what actual language they speak. I mean, the attitudes that they all brought into these conversations were so on point, very mature, very professional. It's something actually that Chris Fisher mentioned to me after their live stream, was just how professional and mature each of these guys came into today, sounding like, feeling like, and for this being yet again one of the younger teams in the entire NBA, really remarkable to see that level of maturation that's happened.
And we spoke to General Manager Sam Presti just a few days ago, and one of the things that was really top of mind for him was the fact that these guys have been in the gym really the entire offseason, and they've been wearing out the court. All of that was so present in this environment where these guys are talking about how hard everybody has been working and how much continuity and chemistry there is within this team and how much this group loves each other. There wasn't a single guy that said something different when it came to that.
Well, and it is remarkable that all of those things that you're talking about really fed into this narrative that we're seeing come into reality, which is like, this is being built organically from the ground up here. These guys all have a hand in what is being built. Obviously, there is a long road to go to get to where this team wants to be, climbing that second mountain that Sam Presti talks about. But they're all looking around in the locker room for how they're going to get there, and that's really cool. Yeah, and you can tell that when they're growing as a team, they're getting better as a team. The bond is only getting stronger and tighter. And I was talking to Kenrich, and the one thing that we talked about was just leadership, and obviously him being one of the older players on the team, which is hilarious because he's not that old. Like, he's not even 30 yet. No. Like, yes. But anyway, being one of the older guys on the team is his ability to be vocal, but really everyone holds each other accountable. And that just goes to show that this group is so tight-knit on the floor, but more importantly, off the floor, that they are able to just really get into each other, but know that it all comes from love. Yeah, no doubt. And you were actually able to be in here with me when we were interviewing J-Dub at the very end of today. That was our final interview that we got. And one of the things that he pointed out was just, how excited everybody is to dump water on somebody else's head when they do well and play well. And just as a little sneak preview, he was talking about some of his favorite memories from last season. And he didn't even include his own game winner. And I just thought that was so cool that he was really thinking about the team. Mm-hmm. And that's where these guys' heads are at right now. It was so fun doing these interviews. And we did these interviews for you. So you will be able to see these interviews throughout the year. You got to come back to the Thunder Basketball Universe podcast because that's the only place that you'll be able to see them. So be on the lookout throughout each and every podcast this year. We'll have one of these interviews sprinkled in there for you to see as well. Well, we also, on the live stream, they were able to talk to Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault, and he always, this time of year, just has great gems that he drops just to set the tone for the overall season. So we're going to kick it to our very own Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault. Here's what he had to say during the live stream.
Comfortable as ever. Didn't even have to handle the microphone. He knew exactly what his job was.
I'll take care of it.
Thank you.
I'll ask the questions, too.
All right, what do you got
How
for
was
us?
your summer?
I was going to ask you the same thing.
No. How was your summer? Where's the best place you went this summer? Go.
Croatia and Italy.
Okay. Croatia and Italy.
Oh, man.
Pinto, what's your answer? Stillwater?
I've never been to Gulf Shores, Alabama. I was there for a baseball tournament. We had a great time.
Gulf Shores, Alabama?
Yeah, Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Okay.
Yep.
Royce?
Disneyland
With the kiddos.
Oh, yeah. Nothing
Awesome.
better.
Yeah. Cage?
San Diego, man. San Diego, California. Been there many times. San Diego State University happens to be there, too. There's more than just Kawhi Leonard who played there. But, yeah, I went back there.
Hey, Mark, it's always about going home.
I love it. 75 and sunny in San Diego?
Yeah, maybe 70,
it's like that.
Maybe 74 and sunny.
Yeah, chilly. Yeah. Chilly day in San Diego.
All right, enough deflection, enough about the kids. The last time we talked to you, I believe, was April 14th. Actually, you probably talked to Mark on the last day of the season.
This is Thunder basketball, right?
This is Thunder basketball.
I always send it up.
We didn't get a chance to talk to you on exit interviews because you had your second child. Are you surviving?
Yeah, doing
with
well.
Number 2, are you
and
hanging in there?
The goal is to have a kid every exit interview, so I never have to face. That's the strategy. I haven't told Ashley yet, but
working so far.
Yeah. No, it was great. We get 2 under 2 right now, so we're chasing that around and doing the best we can. It's highly imperfect, and but it's obviously a joy. So
it's just
we're
like a basketball game.
Yeah.
Highly imperfect.
Other
Don't know
than
what
the
to
joy
expect.
part.
Yeah.
To get to camp, 14 by my count of the 21 that are on the roster have some continuity in the system here. Yeah. How valuable is that as you come back in picking up off of a team a season ago that really showed stark improvement, won 40 games, and I know it's not a carryover thing. It's about hard work, recognizing it's a zero mentality right now. But I'm just curious from a continuity standpoint.
The continuity helps, and I thought it helped last year, at this time. I thought having guys that kind of not only know what's going on, but trust it, that have seen it work and seen the power of, I'm not talking about anything magical, the fundamentals that we emphasize at the onset of camp. The guys that have been here have context behind that, and there's a sense of purpose to what we're doing and how we do it. And it has a contagious effect to the new guys that come in, whether they're coming from other rosters or whether they're drafted players. So it's certainly something we don't take for granted, but something we enjoy. It's helpful, and it helps speed up the process of, like I said, not only understanding what's going on, but understanding why and believing in the purpose of it.
Mark, I think a lot of people look at last season and kind of see that as like a breakthrough year for this young group. But really, those things were laid out in the seasons before that. I know that's something Sam's talked a lot about. Were there any moments in those years where maybe the wins and the outcomes weren't so favorable that you could see like it coming? Like you could see something coming along because of what was taking place in those seasons?
Yeah, I thought that was always the case. And the things that, there's many of them, in each season. The things that stand out the most were, in my first 2 years, times in the game, where you're down by an amount of points that you're not going to come back from, and yet the team is still playing to an identity and competing. That was certainly encouraging. And then stretches of the season where we weren't getting the outcomes, and naturally you're discouraged when that's the case, but the team did not drift, especially competitively. They continue to compete. And I thought that set a really high bar competition-wise and also togetherness. And like last year even, I thought there was a stretch in December, I think it was, we lost 5 in a row, and we broke the streak with a win against Memphis with
no Shea, no Josh.
Yeah,
right?
those guys are both out. But the 2 games prior to that were really close losses, and we were banging the door down, and we didn't get the outcomes. But there was just like a good fortitude inside the group, and I think that's been here from the minute these guys have gotten here. We've certainly tried to water that, but they deserve a lot of credit for it.
Well, I had a non-basketball question, if you don't mind. How many times have you seen the boss this offseason?
Saw him in Tulsa during All-Star break, which was great timing. And then I went up to see him in New England at Gillette, which I've seen him there before.
Perfect.
I saw him. It was a quick little hit because I've got these kids, and so I just shot up there.
Get away.
I told Ash I was going to Trader Joe's, and then I came back 2 days later.
Perfect. It's better to watch him than the Patriots at Gillette these days.
Oh, come on now. A little rough. Rough.
No, not okay? No. Mark, over the last couple of years, in hearing you talk as often as we do, you talk about playing physical and you talk about style of play a lot. For the fans out there who want to know more about the style of play, how would you define that for this young Thunder team?
Well, I think, the style kind of takes on the fingerprint of the guys that are on the court at a particular time. And so I think we can play different styles at different times. I think the constant that needs to exist is competing together, which I talk about a lot. I certainly talk about a lot with the team. I think the team has attached well to that. And if you really think about the term, you got to compete, obviously, but you can't compete, just individually. You got to compete inside the group. It's got to be a collective, competitive spirit. And that's something that's been a positive mark of this particular group of guys. They've embraced that. But we have to continue to do that. The NBA is hard. It's a competitive league. There's a lot of ups and downs in the season. And we've got to solve problems with 5 guys on the court. And like I said, this team has a lot of reason to believe in that, and we've got to continue to do that.
All right, Mark, thank you so much.
Great seeing you guys.
I know you don't like the spotlight, but second in Coach of the Year balloting last year.
And congrats on your extension. We'd be remiss if we didn't.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very grateful. It's a responsibility I don't take lightly.
Yep.
So.
And 2 under 2 is
2
very
under-
brave.
It is very brave.
Very brave. That's a brave man right here.
Yeah. We're not going for 3 under 4. I can tell you that. We're going to take it's a recovery day in the Daigneault house. So, all right, we'll see you.
Mark,
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
COOP Ale Works is the proud sponsor of Thunder Basketball Universe. Brewers of the fan favorites F5 IPA and 99-calorie Ice Chest IPA. You'll find those and many more COOP beers at retailers across Oklahoma. Learn more at coopaleworks.com.
All right, since we got the chance to talk to every single guy today, we had to bring back Made You Look. Because there are some funny moments. I mean, if you know this team, if you've been following this team, they get along great, and they're also just fun to be around.
And so interesting.
Yes.
There are things that, we've done a lot of homework on these guys.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one thing that happened in one of my, it was actually my very first interview of the day.
Who was it?
With Vasilije Micić.
Okay,
that I was not expecting.
What made you look?
This man, who is an extremely accomplished basketball player in Europe, the EuroLeague MVP, won a championship over there. He is a 4-time skiing champion in Serbia, 2-time skiing champion amongst all of the Balkan countries.
Skiing champion?
Skiing, yes. And this man grew up in this tiny little skiing mountain town in Serbia, the exact same town that professional tennis player Novak Djokovic grew up in.
What?
So they know each other. So anyway, there was this whole side of Vasilije Micić, Vasa is what they're calling him, that I had no idea about. Very cool.
Nick, that just unlocked like 45 different questions, like
Yeah.
follow-ups that I have.
Well, I spent the whole interview
Like,
asking him
did you
about
grow
that.
up
Yeah,
skiing?
yeah.
Do you still ski? Like, what's the key to being a skiing champion?
Yeah.
I have some. Well, I don't want you to ruin
He
it.
said that he was better at skiing than he is at basketball, and I just don't know how that's possible.
How is that possible?
It's also completely unfair.
but also like incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
Skiing is such a difficult sport, especially to be like better than everyone else.
Yeah.
That is so difficult to do.
Yeah. So really remarkable stuff. I cannot wait for you all to hear
Oh my
this
goodness.
interview. I'm not sure when we're going to roll it out for you, but we'll let you know. So
I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on this. Skiing
imagine
champion-
being that good at something else besides the sport that's paying you
That
lots of money
that you're
to play
playing at the
basketball for.
professional
Yeah,
level,
exactly,
and that
yeah.
took you across the globe
Yeah.
to go play it. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So one of the things that Mark Daigneault said in the press conference about was like, Vasa doesn't have anything to prove to anyone about basketball. And then I found out this, and I was like, he really has nothing to prove to
Nothing.
anyone. Like,
Nothing.
he's better at everything than you are at anything.
So when it comes to skiing, like that requires incredible balance,
Yeah.
incredible coordination. So I imagine that translates into his game too.
Sure. Yeah, has to. And, that was something that when I talked to Davis Bertans, I was kind of going through the list of all these playmakers, and he like cut me off. He was like, hey, don't forget about Vasilije Micić. This guy can ball.
Wow.
And so and I'm sure, coming from Latvia and
Yeah.
having played in the Euro Leagues before, that for Davis, like, this is a big get for the Thunder. And so anyway, not to go over the top about Vasa, but like, this was a really cool thing that I learned, and I'm just looking forward to seeing him mesh with the group.
Well, it's a new face, and a lot of us don't know a ton about Vasa. So this is really the
Yeah.
first opportunity that we were able to dig deep into his story and who he is. And you brought out a gem. Oh my goodness.
What's so funny is he's like so mild-mannered,
Mhm.
low-key. He is not going to be the one to like pat himself on the back. It was just like, he was kind of just saying this very matter-of-factly. And like, there's just, I went to high school here, and we moved to Belgrade, and I had to stop skiing when we moved to Belgrade because, we were in a city. And so that's why I decided to play basketball. He said picking up basketball was an accident.
Oh my. Imagine being so
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
That just,
yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
NBA player.
I know that's how it was for you, Paris. at your
I just
Belmont
tripped
days.
and fell
Yeah, exactly.
to a D1 scholarship.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay.
What made you look?
What made me look was something that started last season that is, I have learned, continued now into this season, and it involves two of the loudest competitors we have on this team.
It's hard for me to pick who those two loudest competitors are.
When I say loudest, I mean like they're talking about it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this is. Well, I don't want to spoil it.
It's Trey
Yeah,
and Kenrich.
yeah. I mean,
the Trey and Kenrich rivalry.
the one-on-one show.
Yes,
Yeah,
it has
yeah.
continued this year. So Trey was my very first interview of the day. He comes in. I'm talking to him about his work ethic, and he's a gym rat. He's a notorious gym rat, and he's like, yeah, and it really helps, having a guy like Kenrich Williams. Which, by the way, like he stopped and he was like, by the way. When he comes in here, make sure you ask him about our one-on-one record this year.
Trey's obsessed with this one-on-one
He
thing right now.
is.
Even at this community event that we went to earlier this like a month ago,
That's right.
there are like little kids out on the court, and he is like, "Yeah, I'm 2-0." Yeah.
By the way, he's
Yeah.
going like 1-on-10 with these
Yeah.
kids.
All right, that's fair. That was actually something to kind of brag about. Going.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Totally fair. But he stops down the interview and he's like, by the way, when Kenrich comes in, ask him about our one-on-one record because I'm 2-0. And I know he's going to come in here. He's going to tell you something different, but I'm saying it first. We're 2-0. And I was like, okay. So the tally has restarted this year. And he's like, yeah, restarted. And I've won both games. I was like, okay, cool, fair. Who do I get? An hour later, Kenrich Williams walks into the room. So I have to ask, right? I have to ask him. And sure enough, Kenrich is like, it's 0-0. Like I'm not counting the games that we've played this preseason. Those don't count. Everyone was trying to get in on the action. So no, I'm not counting those. So by the end of training camp, I hope to have the solid reporting to figure out what the actual tally is.
Oh man,
between these two guys.
That's gonna be a bloodbath. But it's also like the iron sharpens iron thing, and I think it speaks so much to the way that this team gets after it.
Yeah.
And getting after each other in one-on-one only helps these guys improve their skills and get a chance to play against different styles of players and get ready for potential mismatches, but really take advantage of those situations.
Mind you, they're both laughing and smiling about this, right? Like it is a rivalry, but it is like all born out of love. And like Trey's working to get better. Kenrich is working to make Trey better and vice versa. And these guys, Kenrich told me, he was like, I'm a gym rat. I love being in the gym. And so I go to the gym all the time. And there hasn't been a time where I've gone to the gym where it hasn't been like 2 or 3 other guys in there.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I'm going into the gym at like night and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting in. I'm getting in work when everybody else is sleeping. And it's like, not Trey's in there bouncing the ball. J-Rob's over in the corner. Shay's it's like everybody is working constantly in that practice facility.
Yeah. I don't think you can get one over on anybody.
No.
Like, I got some extra work in on you. Like there's no time to be had to get extra work.
You would have to come in at like 3:30 in the morning probably. And I still
still
might
find
not
somebody.
guarantee. Yeah. But I will say
Kenrich has young kids, you can't beat Kenrich. He might be up at 3:30 in the morning.
That's
just
an excellent point. Excellent. I mean, like woke up, baby woke up. Yeah,
right,
I'm awake now.
I'm awake. Yeah,
exactly.
Let's get going.
But it was interesting, and not to give everything away, but one of the really interesting points was Trey talking about the evolution of his work ethic, and basically he's learned to work smarter and not so much work harder. Because typically when it comes to basketball players, right, it's like more work, hard work. And Trey's like, yes, but it to look after your body, especially in a long 82-game season, it requires you to make sure that you're making the most of your time rather than making the most time, if that makes sense.
It's funny because we were talking about Vasa. I asked him, okay, if you were to give advice to a young player on what drills to work on and what skills to hone, the thing he said first was it has to, whatever it is, it has to be efficient. And I just thought that was, it kind of took me back for a second. I thought he was going to, talk about, it's really key to have great ball handling, or it's really important to have a good passing acumen. And he said, no matter what you're doing, be efficient with your time. And I thought, okay, wow, that's interesting. And then here you go. But you bring this up with Trey about working smarter.
I mean, that's kind of a mic drop right there. Yeah. Right off the top.
Yeah. So did Vasa get to Trey Mann? Is that what we're learning here?
I don't know. Here's what I gather from all of this. The Thunder, they get a type of guy.
Yeah.
And they all have the same mentality and work ethic and appreciation for the things that happen when no one else is watching. And you could tell that with every single guy that came through our room.
Great point.
Okay. Well, it's media day. So what's on tap for this team? Training camp and practice
tomorrow. Yeah.
Lots and lots of practice. And you can guarantee that me and Nick will be at every single one of those, getting a chance to talk to these guys, catch up, see what's what, be in the practice facility. And we're going to bring you a podcast at the end of the week that recaps this first week of training camp. And I hope you enjoyed your summer. I really hope you got the most of it, because it is now basketball season.
We're 1 week away from the first preseason game.
Yes, this time next week.
Yes. Almost literally this time.
We
will be heading to the arena.
That's right.
And we will be getting ready for the first preseason game against the San Antonio Spurs at Paycom Center.
So if you haven't marked your calendar already, do so right now. Go to OKCThunder.com, go to that schedule, add it to your calendar, and then mark the end of the week, because you're going to want to catch up with what happened throughout training camp. But until then, thank you so much for watching and listening. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Thank you so much to our producer, Matt Bishop. And until next time, Thunder up, and catch you later.